Welcome everybody. This is a Saturday afternoon. This is Lisa from Southern Yankee Crafty Creations. I thought I would go ahead and start making a larger welcome using my welcome sign that I had here. And I like all the colors that are in it because you have a little bit of two different shades of pink, like a rosy pink, a little bit of cream, and then you got black in there. So there's also like a little bit shades of like a beigey color or natural color. So what I thought I would do with this is I went ahead and I've already affixed all of my pipe cleaners on the back, had them all glued down, added a few little bit of my little felt onto the back of them, so we have that already marked off for our center. I have taken a 14-inch wreath. I've already added my mesh, 5 squares per inch mesh that you can get at your local Hobby Lobby, Joann Fabrics, and I've got that zip tied in the middle. And I had some extra natural color poly burlap that I had used on another wreath, and I had 16 petals that I had left over, so I had them all ready, so I had put them down because that's one of the colors that I'm going to use for this wreath. And right now, because this is a 14-inch wreath, it is going to have actually 6 different sections and 6 crossbars. So what I've done is I've just used your basic petal for the poly burlap that I've made these petals already, and I have put 2 of each natural color in each of the sections. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and I'm going to burn some of this Deco poly mesh. So I'm actually going to have poly burlap and Deco poly mesh in this wreath. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut this pink. It's got like a little bit of a darker pink foil in it, and I'm going to cut 10 by 10 of those, and I'm going to put them in between. And then my second row that I'm going to end up doing is going to be all pink, and then I'm going to add my third row with some black, and I'm only going to do them all, I believe, in a basic petal, and then we would be able to add our welcome sign down in the middle. So I am going to put this aside. I'm going to get my wood burner out along with my glass cutting board, and we're going to get started on the next section of showing you how to use a wood burner with your Deco poly mesh. Be right back. Okay, we are back, and I have got my cutting board. I have got my glass cutting board as well. I have my wood burner here. Make sure that you're in a well-ventilated room when you use a wood burner, or you're wearing a mask, because it does have fumes that come from it when you have it turned on, you are cutting your material. So I have went ahead and I've cut a clean edge here for my Deco mesh, and I am going to cut it in 10-inch widths because it's 10 inches wide, and I'm just going to go straight down in between each row. And it's really like, this is a little bit smaller rows, narrower than a poly burlap is, but you can actually get through it. Very simple. Some people, they just go ahead and use a regular rotary cutter, but I like to use a wood burner because then it just prevents any fraying, especially with Deco mesh. Deco mesh is a lot easier as far as fraying and so forth. So I go ahead and I just go down the middle, and it seals it and everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set aside my wood burner. I'm going to turn it off because I want to make sure that we don't get burned, because Lord knows I have burned my hands many a time on a wood burner. Okay, we're going to get rid of this glass. We are going to take our 14-inch wreath that we have, and let me put some of this stuff away. Let me stick it over here off the side so for a second. We need to get a lot more room. All right, so we have our 14-inch wreath. I'm trying to see if I can get it a little bit bigger here. Wider view. Let me see if I can push it away. That might help a little bit. This wreath with a 14-inch frame is going to be from tip to tip actually about 25-26 inches in diameter. So that makes a pretty good sized wreath on your front door or wherever you want to display it. So I said I am using similar colors that are in our welcome sign. So I have a natural poly burlap. I can leave the ID number at the end of this video. I'm going to be using a black poly burlap, I usually order all of my stuff from Melscraftymojo out of Machesney Park, Illinois, or from craftoutlet.com. Occasionally, if I go to Hobby Lobby and they have mesh, but it's not, it's 10 inches, but it's not 10 yards. It's a little bit less. Usually they come in 6 or 7 yards and they're a half off, then I'll usually buy them from there. So I will leave those links as well. So what we're going to do is, since we already used the basic petal on this 14-inch, which has 6 sections, and I have 2 each of your basic petal in the beige or natural color in each section, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in between each one of these beige, and I'm going to do a basic petal for our wreath. So what I'm going to do here, let me move this over just for a second. You have your curl side up and you have your finished side on the top and the bottom. Now when you're doing your petals, you want to make sure that your finished side is always on the same side. So I have my finished side here on my right side. In any of my videos, I will always tell you this is my left hand, this is my right hand, because I have my little, I call it my cherry blossom with my children on my left side. So I am going to take the top, the bottom, and bring it up, and I'm just going to overlap them just ever so barely to where I look like I have like a little square here with the tips. And then I just take it for my basic petal with the Deco mesh, squeeze it together, and then I am going to flip it where I have my finished side is on this side, and this is my finished side, and I just bring it over because here's your unfinished side here. Now you can either do it where you just put them next to each other so you have a wider petal, or you can overlap them a little. That is all a preference. The only thing you want to make sure is that your leaves, your end of your leaves petals are, your petals are the same size. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to flip that over. Now if you have rubber bands, you can always use the rubber bands on the ends to hold it. So if you want to make all your petals, and then you can just put them on your wreath form then faster. So what I'm going to use here is, because this is Deco mesh, I'm not going to use my thicker zip ties. I'm going to use my thinner ones, and I'm going to go in between on these crossbars. I'm going to go under the crossbar, and I'm always using on your wire wreath forms, as we said before, and probably in many other tutorials that you've looked at. All the wreath wire forms, have 1, 2, 3, 4 bars, and they have crossbars. We always start on the second one, and you always usually the outer side, if I put any green leaves or anything, I leave that there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in first with my crossbars, and I'm going to add 1 to the crossbar and then 1 in between. So it's going to look like that. So and what I'm using here is, I think these are only 6-inch little zip ties. I don't know if you could see them, but I get them from Amazon, and I will put that link as well. So I'm going to go under, and if you want, you can go ahead and kind of pull it together so you have like a little loop here, and then you can put your petal in. So curl side up once again. Top and bottom are your finished sides. Bring them in to where you have like the little square. Now if you want to make sure it's even, you can always turn it this way to make sure you have the same amount on each side. But if you cross the little tips here for your center, you'll actually make like a little box. So that kind of gives me the idea that they're pretty much even. Squish it together, I flip it over, then I kind of like lay this one over top of it, so actually the left one over top of the right, and make sure they're about the same size, and I will put them in the zip tie. Now one thing I do is that also all my zip ties are going the same way as well. You want to make sure that if you're going under whatever way you put your zip ties, you do that the same way all the way around, because it makes it uniform with your zip ties. So what I'm going to do is, because the beige is already there, sometimes if you want, you can always like lay it over, and then this would here would be your finished side, and I would put it underneath. But this one, I'm just going to leave it directly on top, so it kind of gives you that look, and you're just barely getting the peak of your little beige here. So that's going to go in the middle. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go all the way around this entire wreath, and I'm going to add the pink. It's actually like a Deco mesh with the dark pink foil, like a fuchsia maybe color in between, so it has more of that glittery look, so it offsets on the natural poly burlap that you have. So let me finish doing that, and that will be our first row. So before I go, I will let you know we have a total of 12, I think it was, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 12. So we'll have a total of 24 petals when we're done on the second bar, which is your first row, between the natural poly burlap and our Deco mesh that has the foil in it. So let me get this first row on and we'll be right back. Okay, we are back, and I was trying to make sure that I had enough petals, because I just had one roll which had of the Deco mesh. So I ended up cutting a total of 22, which was all I had left. 24 would actually fill in a little bit fuller, but I kind of evenly spaced everything around. So like I said, this is a 25-inch wreath, and we're going to still put black in the center so it covers. And I've got my poly burlap already cut out and everything in my 10 by 10. So we have a total of 12 of the natural poly burlap on your first row, and then we had an additional 12 of this pink. So this roll actually had a total of 36 petals that I was able to pull out of it, which is actually a good amount of petals, which you should get in every roll of a 10 by 10. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to, since this is what we're trying to put in, I'm probably going to go down probably so far in, so the black, I don't want it to cover completely all of the pink because I really like the pink, and I don't know if I can get a good view of how much this is, but I mean, this is a pretty good size wreath, and I think this is going to be pretty once I get the little bit of black. I'm going to try doing a basic petal and see how much it covers. But once I do the basic petal, and if I don't like it, I may do the Lollipop Petal. So I'm going to mess with that for a few minutes. And like I said, as I'm making a wreath, I know the colors I want to use, but I'm designing as I'm going. So that's one of the things where I change my mind all the time. So this was just a regular basic petal with our pink Deco mesh, which has the foil in it, which makes it a little bit of, doesn't really show too much in the video, but it really sparkles a lot and I like it. So let me figure out if a basic or a lollipop will look better, and we'll be right back to finish up our last row. Okay, I have decided after putting both the basic petal and the lollipop petal that the lollipop petal looked better. So I ended up putting in, let's see, 3, 6, 9, 11 total, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so 11 of them are in the middle. So once I put this over, then, in fact, let me do it this way so you can actually see it a little bit better. Once I put this over, and I know it's backwards, then you're going to have this. And let's see if I can pull this back a little bit and you will be able to see. I'll have a complete picture of it on the video at the very end. So once I put this in, we're going to center it around it. And then the way this brings out this little black, but you still have all the pink in here. And I just have the hint of the beige or natural on the end. So this is going to be the welcome side that I'm going to have. I will post this on my business Facebook page. So if anybody is interested in purchasing one, they can let me know and I can give them the price for it. So we had a total of 22 plus 12. So that was actually 34 petals, not 36. I corrected myself. If you did use the 24 in the middle, which would have made it a little bit fuller, which I think it still is pretty full, then you would have a total of 36. So we have 34 of the pink, we have 12 of the natural, and we have 11 of the black poly burlap and the lollipop. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add my center in here and with my little sign and get it, all the pipe cleaners put through the back. I will cover the whole back with a cream color backing, and I will go ahead and post this with other pictures, and I will leave the links for all the material at the bottom of the video. And I hope you guys liked this. I know it was a last minute thing, and I just enjoy doing wreaths all the time. They just, designing them, I find color and I just go with it. And this welcome sign had beautiful colors in it. So let me know if anybody's interested in other types of wreaths and tutorials or different types of petals you'd like to learn, and I'll be willing to show you how to do that on videos. I hope everybody has a great Saturday afternoon, the rest of your weekend, and God bless you all. Thank you so much. This is our finished product. I have it hanging on a wall, and it is approximately 25 to 25.5 inches in diameter. It's about 3 inches in depth. It came out really nice. I like it with the Lollipop black Poly Burlap wrapped around the welcome sign. So, and the little hint of the beige brings out a little bit of the beige that you have in the middle of your welcome sign. So I will cover the back with a green colored felt zip tied, so it covers the back completely, with a little loop on the top to hang it. And this will be, like I said, on my Facebook business page for sale if anyone is interested. Everyone have a great weekend. Thank you so much again for watching my YouTube tutorial.